I want to take you through a brief course overview just to let you know where we're headed here and the various topics we're going to cover, just so you have a map to kind of go by here. First off, we'll start off and talk a little bit about Windows Server history. Now this is for those of you who are new to the Windows operating systems or on server systems, or maybe you're just kind of plugged in around the 2003 level, and understanding where it came from can help you, if nothing else, look a little more knowledgeable to the people that you work with and that you interface with as you work on this thing. Then we'll talk about the Windows Server 2008 basics, and in this we want to touch on things like system requirements, give you a first look at it, kind of walk through it, talk about the various aspects of the system, maybe the Vista connection, about the whole Vista client. There's a lot of concern about that. Virtualization, which is being added into the operating system itself. Then we'll deal with some installation and deployment. I'll step you through an installation of Windows Server 2008, talk about what's changed, what's new there. Then we'll move on to network services, talk about what's new in network services in 2008, talk about the new network access protection service that's in there that's really phenomenal. And then the big one, we'll talk about IP version 6 and how that's going to affect everything. Then we'll move into Active Directory, do a few movies on what's new in Active Directory, how to create a domain controller in Windows Server 2008, the various domain functional levels, read-only domain controllers and how to use those and what they're used for. Then we'll move into system management, spend a little time talking about group policy, some basics, step you through managing group policy in the 2008 environment, talk about how to troubleshoot group policy, and then of course what's new in group policy for this particular release. Then we'll move on to the file system, talk about what's new in the file system, a new functionality called full volume encryption that's really cool. And then we'll move into the portion of managing Windows Server itself. Microsoft really wanted to concentrate on getting management of the server consistent and easy, and to reduce that surface attack. And so we'll talk about the ICT console, the server manager, using the Microsoft Management Console, and some of those things. From there, we're going to go talk about PowerShell. Now this is something that's going to change the way administration is done in the Microsoft environment. It's really cool. Step you through installing PowerShell, talk a little bit about some commands, and give you an example of some scripts. Talk about what's new in security, Microsoft's security strategy and procedures in Windows Server 2008. Then we'll move on to terminal services and talk about terminal server and what's new here, the basics, show you how to use remote desktop, turn it on, how to work it. Then we'll talk about using terminal server to enable remote applications, and this is just a phenomenal functionality that's in there. Then we'll talk about Server Core. This is one of the most exciting but yet somewhat frustrating new technologies in the Windows Server 2008 family. And so I want to step you through that. We'll do a couple of movies and give you some examples of how to install this, how to start using it, how to get it fixed up so that you can remotely administer it, and so forth. So I'm going to cover a lot of stuff here, and what I want to try to do is kind of balance that line. If you're new to this whole Windows Server system, I want to get you up to speed and running. If you've been around for a few versions, I want to kind of reinforce the things that you already know and the good habits, and then introduce you to some of the really new exciting technologies that's part of Windows Server 2008. So let's get busy.